How to survive our solar system. Skies of Venus. Reese stands before a group of wide-eyed colonists, his arms crossed, wearing a slightly scuffed spacesuit that's clearly seen its fair share of acid rain. A crooked grin spreads across his face as he scans the group.
All right, listen up. Welcome to Venus, the second planet from the sun, and let's be honest, humanity's version of extreme camping. I'm Reese, your guide, babysitter, and occasional lifesaver. We're floating about 50 kilometers above the most hostile surface in the solar system, so buckle up. Kids, this isn't Mars, and it's definitely not Earth. Let me show you how not to die.
Chapter 1. Step 1. Don't even think about the surface. Reese gestures dramatically at a screen showing a live feed of Venus's surface, a fiery, orange hellscape of crushing pressure and boiling heat. He lets the silence hang for a moment before speaking.
Rule number 1. Forget the surface exists. Down there, it's 475 C, hot enough to turn lead into soup and you into crispy bacon. The pressure? Oh, just a casual 92 times Earth's. It'll crush you faster than bad news in an airlock. And the atmosphere? Pure carbon dioxide and sulfuric acid, a murder cocktail that doesn't even need garnish.
He leans in slightly, raising an eyebrow.
Think you're tough? Soviet landers lasted a couple of hours down there, and they were machines. You, 2 seconds, tops. That's why we're up here, floating in the Goldilocks zone, a nice, cozy 75 C with atmospheric pressure you can actually live with. But don't get cocky, this isn't Club Med. The winds up here are cruising at 360 kilometers per hour, and they're not stopping to ask for your luggage.
Chapter 2. Step 2. Suit up or shut up. Reese wraps his knuckles against his spacesuit, which faintly hisses as its pressure stabilizers hum to life.
This bad boy, your new best friend. Your spacesuit isn't just clothing, it's survival wrapped in acid-proof polymer. Venus wants to eat you alive, and this is all that's stopping it. Heat-resistant? Check. Acid-proof? Double check. And yes, it's as comfortable as a sauna with no exit. That visor? Treat it like your favorite pair of sunglasses. Keep it clean and scratch-free, or you'll be blind while sulfuric acid makes your face its new home. And about the color of your suit, pro tip, avoid white. The acid loves to leave stains, and you'll end up looking like a Dalmatian astronaut.
Reese pauses, then smirks.
Oh, and maintenance? Non-negotiable. Check your seals daily. Monitor your cooling systems, and don't forget the anti-fog spray for your visor. Trust me, visibility is life. And if you're into flair, feel free to personalize it a sticker here, a patch there. Nothing says death-defying style like a suit that'll save your life.
Chapter 3. Step 3. Breathe carefully. Reese picks up an oxygen tank, holding it aloft like a trophy.
This little guy, your real best friend. Venus's atmosphere is a toxic soup of carbon dioxide and sulfuric acid. Breathing it is like drinking battery acid through a straw. So, rule 3, always bring your own air. No exceptions.
He sets the tank down gently and points to a nearby filtration system, its vents humming softly.
Our floating habitats come with air scrubbers to keep you breathing and the acid out of your lungs. But here's the catch. These systems are about as reliable as a 2-credit space mechanic. Keep an ear out for clunks, wheezes, or worse, silence. If something goes wrong, fix it fast. Otherwise, you'll be learning how to suffocate in real time.
He pauses, his grin returning.
Pro tip, invest in air fresheners. Living in a metal surrounded by sulfur clouds? It's an assault on the nostrils. A little lemon breeze won't save your life, but it'll keep your sanity intact.
Chapter 4. Build your cloud castle. Reese leans back in a chair, propping his boots up on a console.
All right, let's talk about your new home sweet home, or as I call it, the floating folly. The upper atmosphere of Venus isn't completely awful. Don't get me wrong, it's still Venus. But up here, the temperature is a cozy 75 C, and the pressure is similar to Earth's at sea level. Sounds almost livable, right? Wrong? Your habitat? It's essentially a giant balloon, but instead of helium and fun, it's filled with buoyant gas and existential dread. Acid-proof materials are a must, because, well, acid rain. Every bolt, panel, and window needs to withstand a chemical attack that would make Earth's worst storms look like a drizzle. Think steampunk aesthetic, but with fewer gears and more life-or-death engineering. Your floating castle will be tossed around by winds up to 360 chem/H. Picture a hurricane. Now imagine living inside it permanently. Fun, huh? To keep it steady, you'll need anchor systems and thrusters, assuming they don't corrode the moment they're exposed. And if you're wondering about privacy, forget it. It's one big communal can, so get ready to bond with your fellow colonists over shared misery.
He pauses, leaning forward with a grin.
Pro tip, bring duct tape. A lot of it. It's not elegant, but when something breaks, and it will, you'll thank me.
Chapter 5. Food and water. BYO everything.
Next up, sustenance. Let's start with the bad news. Venus isn't exactly a Garden of Eden. Farming? Forget it. The last time plants were on Venus was never. Hunting? Unless you count hallucinating a Venusian turkey, that's also a no. If you didn't bring it with you, you're not eating it. Your meals will consist of pre-packaged mysteries, meals ready to endure. Think astronaut food, but sadder. You'll also rely on bioreactors to grow synthetic proteins. It's like eating tofu, except the tofu was grown in a lab and tastes like loneliness. Yum. And water? Oh, you'll have plenty to recycle. That's right. Say hello to the mother of all filtration systems because you'll be drinking yesterday's coffee in tomorrow's cup. Every drop matters, and yes, that includes your sweat and other fluids. Don't cringe. Survival isn't glamorous.
He grabs a bottle of water and holds it up.
Remember, every sip is a victory. So toast to your survival with recycled pee. Welcome to Venus, folks.
Chapter 6. Watch out for Venus's mood swings.
Venus isn't just trying to kill you. It's throwing tantrums while it does. Here's what you're up against. 1. Hurricane force winds. These bad boys can toss your habitat around like a cat with a toy. Secure everything. If it's not bolted down, it's gone. 2. Acid rain. Imagine regular rain, but make it liquid death. Don't go outside unless you have a spacesuit that laughs at sulfuric acid. 3. Sulfuric lightning storms. Ever seen lightning? Now imagine it angrier, hotter, and more personal. When these storms hit, you'll feel like Venus itself has a grudge against you. To survive, you'll need all-day weather monitoring systems. And when I say monitor, I mean obsessively check every 5 minutes. A clear sky can turn murderous in seconds. Oh, and don't get too attached to your belongings. Venus loves to redistribute assets into the void.
Propping himself up, Reese flashes a sarcastic thumbs up.
Pro tip, name the storms. It makes them less terrifying and more like dysfunctional family members. Oh, here comes sulfuric Sally again.
Chapter 7. Get out before you lose your mind.
Let's be honest. Surviving in Venus's skies is possible, but staying sane? That's another story. There's only so long you can stare at orange acid clouds before you start naming them and giving them backstories. Trust me, it happens. Your mental health will be as fragile as your habitat seals. You're isolated, surrounded by people you're probably sick of, and one malfunction away from disaster. To keep your sanity, find a routine. Play games, write journals, or invent ridiculous theories about Venusian life. Anything to distract yourself from the fact that you're floating above literal hell.
He steps closer, like he's sharing a secret.
The goal here isn't to build a home. It's to survive long enough to grab data, snap a selfie for Earth, and get out, ideally alive. If you start thinking you can stay forever, you've already lost the plot.
E. Standing up. He stretches and walks toward the airlock.
All right, colonists. That's it. Build your floating dream. Recycle everything. Dodge the storms, and don't let Venus break you. And if it does, at least you'll go down knowing you tried. Now, let's get back to work before Sulfuric Sally pays us a visit. Good luck, and may the acid rain stay outside.